Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Raycon Wireless Earbuds. If you've watched a bunch of my videos and my interviews, you'll notice I never wear over-the-head earphones. I never wear earbuds with big stalks hanging out, and that's because these little low-profile Raycon Wireless Earbuds is what I use. And I don't only use them for my videos. I keep a pair here on my desk where I record and where I live stream. I keep another pair in my gym bag for exercise because Raycon's earbuds are so affordable that you can get 2 pairs of Raycon for less than the cost of 1 pair of some of the other big name tech brands. The 8 hours of battery life and noise isolation are 2 of my favorite things about these earbuds. And with Raycon sponsorship, you can use my custom link buyraycon.com/SPTV to get 15% off Raycon's already very affordable prices. One of the best ways to support this channel is by supporting our sponsors. So don't forget to use my custom link buyraycon.com/SPTV to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. We're back, everyone.
Hey.
And yes, this was Barb right there, but we're going to try to keep Barb in the back.
Barb.
Nobody puts Barb in a corner, but we do put her in the back. Okay. All right. Well, guys, I figured, it feels like a good time to get the gang together, BS around about what happened this weekend or this week, just in, cult world, Scientology world, plenty of stuff that we can chat about, and then have a nice little 4-panel Q&A conversation, kind of like the good old days. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Barb, if you're in the back there. Oh no, Barb's gone.
We've lost Barb.
Nothing's been starred.
Barb.
Is it just me?
We shall conjure her. Everybody conjure Barb.
We'll find her.
Barb.
I'm sure people are God, I wonder how many people are following what's going on the Occupy L Run Hubbard Way camp. But I'm pretty sure Laura spent the whole day breaking everything down.
Mm-hmm.
And putting it in storage. I got to tell you, I did not know. I didn't truly know what length Scientology would go to interfere with the Occupy L Run Hubbard Way plans for this month. But we knew that nothing could be a bigger priority for them than to figure out how to put a stop to that thing. And they kind of just took the most obvious path forward, which is the tried and tested strategy of restraining orders.
That's craziness.
Yeah.
I like them. They like those restraining orders.
And it worked. It worked. I do think, I don't see anything. I don't see something like this as like a loss. I see it as like, this is the game. Sometimes Scientology is going to have a winning strategy. Sometimes, most of the time, they're not going to have a winning strategy. And, the fact that this little experiment lasted for like 1 week instead of 4 weeks is like,
oh yeah,
who cares?
That would have never happened in another time. I was amazed that it lasted beyond the first day. I could not believe what I was seeing, that I'm saying that Scientology didn't find a way sooner to do that. It's a record. I'm not aware of an occupation previously. But that is amazing that it lasted that long and they had to put up with it. So I still think that is
true.
It's a big deal. There was the video of, I think this was against Danny, this restraining order that he got with the scooter guy, right? Remember how this guy, was that Danny?
Yes.
Yeah. But then
Danny
it turns
was
out
the
it wasn't
scooter
guy, right? I don't think it was scooter guy.
The guy had a scooter.
Well, no, he had this like little electric scooter, and part of his the video.
I'm confusing
part of his
guy.
Part of his statement, and I'm just kind of starring a few things that say question on here, but part of his statement was that, hey, we need to, or he needs to have his scooter as part of his ability to actually move around. And just to kind of relate this, and he's an elderly man and this is what he needs. I cannot overstress enough how absolutely like insanely inaccurate that is from the way that the Sea Org members are living inside of that building. Just take Rosemary, for example, my mom. When she was in there, she didn't have O2 that she needed. She didn't have a walker. and she had to walk under that tunnel between the main building, up and down the stairs. Sometimes the elevators would work, sometimes they wouldn't, back and forth to AOLA. And she is elderly with a heart condition, and she did not even have a walker. So this guy rolling around outside with like a scooter and stuff it was just 100% fabricated. It was so obvious. Anyway.
And what about the fact that someone who needs help walking does not use one of these electric bird scooters? That is not what those are for.
Those are the ones that you log into and like ride it around and then like let go and it keeps going and you go walk inside, right? Like the public.
Yeah, now
ones?
he wasn't using the official Bird branded scooter, but he had his own.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
Someone who cannot walk and balance themselves does not get around on an electric scooter.
No, and there's video of him walking just fine. Just this morning, I featured a video, and he was walking just fine out of the kids' fest. He walking right out, no scooter.
Also super creepy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Although I think it's just to shut down the street. That's kind of what I
it
think
is 100% because I mean, if you think about it, what like part of the Scientology thing is they don't believe in children having any. Like when we were kids, it's not like, hey, Jenna, you know what? We're going to put out some coloring books and stuff. So when we're done doing decks, we can do kid stuff. Like, did that ever happen at the ranch?
No. And if it did, I would probably be like, what do you guys think I am, a baby?
Yeah.
Like, I'm an adult. I'm a steering member.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Do you know, it's funny. I was really wondering because the permit, to my understanding, the permit that Scientology got for that, did they really call it Kids Fest?
Yeah, Kids Fest.
It was supposed to be for kids, which is beyond insane.
Well,
it's
actually,
in response to everyone, like all of these kids can't consent. So they're like, we're going to make a kids fest and no one will come to it. And then dude comes out and flashes his like, his manneries. Anyway.
They added, it also said that it was like a multicultural event. I read it was, for one, they mix messages because you're saying it's Kids Fest, but it looks like you copy and pasted your wording from a different event that you tried to call a cultural event, and you just put them together.
Well, if they sent out the invitation using L. Ron Hubbard's language, it would have said, "We welcome the whites, the yellows, and the browns."
He was more sly than that. He was more sly.
Barb's back.
They're like, welcome to the Scientology Multicultural Street Kids Fest, where the whites, the yellows, and the browns all come together as one.
They're very out of touch.
I guess I thought that was funnier than everyone else did.
That's very usual.
It was funny.
What's funny is how funny you think it is. That's what makes it.
Pretty much.
It is so funny. It'd be like, we had to send it out the way L. Ron Hubbard would have.
Oh my gosh.
Did he actually write that? Like, are you quoting LRH? Like, did he refer to
the early basic books? Oh yeah.
It must have just completely left the brain.
Well, I did a video like 2 weeks ago using one of Mike's OSA files about his submissions on how to edit the basic books. And it was how to remove this problematic paragraph where L. Ron Hubbard was talking about the yellows and the browns. And anyway, I guess you had to see that video to get the joke.
Somehow I missed that. Now it makes a bit more sense.
So, but the thing is, the permit for the event was only for 1 week. And I think that's the only reason they were allowed to shut down L. Ron Hubbard Way is because you're not allowed to shut down that public road without a permit. And I was like, what are they going to do when the permit expires? Yeah. And they only have like another day or two. And then they were going to have to figure out some other strategy to keep the protesters away. Because you notice not a soul showed up for this week-long streets event. Not a soul.
Couple perverts did.
A couple pervs did.
There was a guy.
And what you had was just all the Sea Org members hanging out on this street. They were finally able to show their faces in public and get a little bit of sunlight. They were looking a little pale.
Yeah, get some vitamin D. Here, okay, so the situation, they're out there. There's people out there. You're back in the Sea Org. You're an executive. You're in charge of this. What would you do?
Oh, if you had to put this on, that's what's so crazy.
How do you handle? You know it's coming, right? Because you know everything. I mean, everything's online. You know this occupation is coming. You know about this convoy, and it's going to go all around on L. Ron Hubbard Way and around the blue buildings. So you're on post, you have to figure it out and come up with ideas. And Kid Fest apparently floated to the top. That's one of the ideas. And then, of course, the restraining orders. But I was curious if any of you, Jenna, you were up there at the international base.
I didn't really have an important post, but I guess like this is where all their brown nosing and buying off of the LAPD all pays off, and safe pointing them.
Yeah.
So I guess that's exactly what they did do.
Yeah.
The staff members inside, and this isn't for the staff members that are inside, are all hiding. And that is the main thing of what they're doing, unless they're coming out. And like this thing, I guess they're trying to have some sort of, event, this fest thing. So they have some stuff set up for that. But normally when there's protesters, everyone is told to be fearful of them. I remember, actually, this might be kind of fun. I could call my mother. She was there for when the anonymous protesting was happening and see the results of what those were. And everybody could just say hi real fast. You want me to do that? I can just get her on.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, sweet.
I'll help that Rosemary. Get her on that speed dial. Should we punk her? Tell her we're somebody.
Should we punk mom? She wouldn't know what that means.
This is the IRS.
Hey, Mom. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm watching your YouTube video with Jenna, Natalie, and Aaron. It's awesome.
Oh, cool. Hey, everyone's saying hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, girl.
So we're having a discussion about all of the shenanigans that are going on this week with the protests in LA. And, they've been going on for a while. And then there's been all this, they kind of set up camps there, and Scientology is trying to do a kids fest. We just wanted to get your thoughts on two things. One, when they were doing public events, because you've been on the inside for a long time, what's sort of the inside baseball on the actual, how much do they care about these events and what is the purpose of them? And then if you remember back when the anonymous protests were happening, when the people were wearing the masks, remember the white masks with the funny features on them and the guy with a little mustache?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just want to get your views about what it was like being on the inside with the protests happening. And then when they do these public events to try to have goodwill, like the stuff on the, there's often they don't do stuff on Hubbard Way, but they definitely every year would do the Winter Wonderland at the HI. What is the reason they're doing that? So what's your take on it?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, so you asked me a whole bunch of stuff all at once.
Sorry.
Sure did.
The first thing about the anonymous masks, we would not be allowed to go outside when those guys were out there.
So you're just kept inside?
Absolutely. You cannot go out. Only the security guards or somebody who has permission to handle those people. And usually they wouldn't even go out there and confront them. They would everybody was just, the blinds down, and you just use the tunnels and you can't go out.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when the big protest was going on, wasn't that like in 2009 when they were like circling the building and all that?
Yeah.
I was on the RPF, and I can remember peeking through the blinds, and we were freaked out about who are these people doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we were not allowed, nobody was allowed to go outdoors. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, but on the inside, there's just the response from the staff is hide. Everyone outside's bad. That's just what they're told. And I remember that from Gold. We would do the same thing. But
it's like an intruder drill.
Yeah. And then so now when they would do stuff like the Winter Wonderland and the things like when Scientology would do things to have good PR, what is your understanding of why are they doing that? Do they really care about the community, or what is their intention of doing such a thing?
All that was for is just to show that, L. Ron Hubbard was a good person. It was for that sort of thing. But it wasn't, there was not that much for the community as far as what they really cared about them. That was my opinion. I was ended up working mostly setting the place up, when I was on the RPF.
When you're in your late 60s. So those people that we
Yeah.
do see setting up these tents and stuff, a lot of them are in black shirts and all that sort of stuff. It's either people that are on the RPF or probably people that are in trouble that are doing these setup actions.
Yeah, it's people that are in estates.
In estates.
Yeah.
Craziness. And remember the guy with the pressure washer? I think you knew that guy that was outside
Oh,
a couple weeks ago,
Hank.
right?
Yeah, Hank. I think I said it. I told you it was Frank, but and then I think you talked to Aaron and he said it was Hank Gould.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that old guy. He's older than I am because he was like doing the. He's like the fire safety I see inside the building.
Okay. So he
And
just
he
works
would
in PVC, pack-based
He
crew.
works in PDC and he knows how to control all the inspections that comes in and out of the blue building
Mhm.
on how to manipulate the county or whatever inspections it would be. And I don't know, when he croaks, what's going to happen.
Oh,
know
so
what
you're
I
saying, so when you're saying when they're manipulating the inspections, so he'll, like when a county inspector comes in, he'll take them on a specific route. So he's showing them
Exactly.
what they want to see and they don't see things that could be a problem.
Yes. And everybody else, that's exactly right. It was all set up like a certain way. Everybody knew where he was going to do the tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then we weren't allowed to go into that area. And then he would there would be certain rooms that he was going to show them.
That don't have as many people stuffed into them.
Yeah, and that were fixed real nice and everything. And so it gave him an impression that it was nice.
Wow.
It was all a big fake.
Wow.
I'm serious. I knew that because I worked in PDC. I worked in the galley, and all that. And then I would be in the meetings with the people that were in estates. And so I knew the stuff that they did on how to do that, what they did to control that.
Wow. Amazing.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does, Mom.
Right
Thank
there.
you. Well, thanks for picking up when I called. I know everyone's going to love hearing your voice. Anyone want to say anything to Mom before we let her just watch
Hi.
the show? Aaron saying hi.
Yes, thanks,
Hi.
Rosemary. Galley
Anyways,
Girls
thanks for
Unite.
calling. I hope that I
Sorry, I have her on my headphone, I guess.
try to explain it.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks, Mom, and I appreciate taking the call and enjoy the show.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye. Interesting.
Yeah.
I remember when I was at Flag and there would be protesters. We would travel around in these vans from building to building, and then they put this contact paper on the windows of the vans so we couldn't see out. So we couldn't see anyone's signs because I guess they said stuff about like Xenu and whatever. And we were told to never look at their signs. And then also,
Did
like
they say
inside,
what happened? What would happen if you did? Like you'd go blind.
I mean, I just assumed that it was that. Like if I just, like I assumed it was like whatever would happen if we like found out what was on OT3, which was like sort of my mission in life, to find out what it was before actually doing it without dying.
What crappy sci-fi is not even worth like, this is it.
Yeah, but they would also put up posters inside the building with the faces of the people who were protesting, saying like all sorts of bad things about them. Like I remember there was one with Jesse Prince on it, and it like said all these bad things that he had supposedly done.
Wow.
And
so
then
they put,
also
like, wanted posters.
Yeah, that's how they looked.
With their, like when you go to the post office and there's like wanted, I don't even know if they still do that. Wow.
Well, they
Yeah.
printed up a whole bunch of flyers with DOA's face on it. And did you guys see that? Did you see that in the live stream, Natalie? The flyers that they printed up?
Shared it.
Oh,
In
the
color,
ones he was
mind you.
picking up? Yeah, they looked expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, they spent some money on that. That's
Yeah, and I
remember-
remember at the staff meeting, they would also like when someone from OSA would come up and brief the staff, they would be like, yeah, we went out there in the protests and this guy barely touched me and I did this whole thing where I fell over and then he got in all this trouble and he got a restraining order. And it was like, ha 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 ha. It was like so great that he did that and we were winning against the protesters.
wow. So not much has changed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is the thing. Like Aaron, you said that you know, like, is this a win? Is this a loss? I don't think there's any loss here. Ultimately, all this is happening outside of these buildings. And the goal is for no one to continue to involve themselves with Scientology. So that is going to be accomplished through this, no matter, you know, how messy it is one way or the other. There's a lot of success going on just with all of this happening, because all of the people in that area, like, that area is now saturated with people that want to have nothing to do with it. And it's problematic even for public to come in. I've heard that they're smuggling their public through the back entrance of the CLO in order to get them into AO, in order to put them through the tunnels to have them get to the other orgs at this point.
Oh my
So
God.
they're having to come up with all sorts of weird ways in order to even get people to come in. And then a lot of people are not even coming in because they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember, Jenna, you mentioned something about the when you were younger and the protests were happening, that the impact on you wasn't necessarily what the protesters were doing or saying, but the fact that the people in charge were basically saying, oh, don't look over there. You're not allowed to see that. You're not allowed to hear that. And almost like that is what got you to go, well, what was it? Was it more, how dare you tell me what I can't look at? Or is it more, now I really want to see?
Well, it was more like, well, what would there be that I really shouldn't see? Like, aside from OT3 stuff, it was like, well, what if it was real? Like, if it was something that was untrue, then why couldn't it be explained or something like that? So it was more like, why is it really like, what would be so bad that I really, really couldn't see it? And that just doesn't really make sense. And I also remember people saying at the time, or like sometimes shouting out of their cars, or because they would stand, when we would get off the buses, they would stand there with their signs and they would say things like, you're in a cult. And at the time, I didn't really know what a cult was. And I tried looking it up, and also they would be like, yes, people will call us a cult, but we're not. And so I tried like looking it up in the dictionary because I didn't really know what it was. And it kind of said like, it's like an organization with extreme beliefs and has a tight-knit following. And it's funny because when I would read that at the time, I'd be like, yeah, what's wrong with that?
Were you guys there or aware? I remember there being a time when Scientology tried to make the word cult be like, it's just not a big deal. So many things are cults. Of course, it seems like we're a cult. We actually do fit the definition of a cult. I have this vague recollection of being told in one of my handlings before I decided to full-blown leave that, oh, actually, I think it was maybe right before the anonymous protesters. There was like this kind of like line about how, well, of course it's a cult. I mean, it fits the definition, but that's because they don't understand. Like cults are misunderstood. Like the word, there's something wrong with the word itself.
I missed that. I know that they went through great lengths to take over and rebrand the Cult Awareness Network, which was put into place to guard people against this. And then they ended up coming into legal possession of that organization. Yeah. And that was like one of the big things at one of the IAS events in the 90s was Miscavige getting up there and say, now when people call the Cult Awareness Network, they're put on the phone with our people to tell them about Scientology and how great it is.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Talk about gaslighting the help that's put in place for people. My goodness.
My mom worked on that as a public. It's something she volunteered on, was in dealing with the Cult Awareness Network and going to their events. And the woman who ended up like actually paying for it was here in the Twin Cities. And she is, I don't know that she's officially out of Scientology, but I didn't see her there for years before I even left. And that was something she did. I wonder who has the number now. I wonder if it's a thing still.
I always wondered why they didn't keep the number operational or keep, you know, like it was such a coup for them when they first accomplished that, but then they wind it down.
Yeah. Well, you know, they're not known for follow through.
I mean,
well, and if someone's really asking all those questions, how can they really answer them? You know, someone who's not in the Sea Org.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be weird.
Maybe that was the problem.
Yeah. It's kind of like probably it's the reason why like my uncle can't go back on Nightline, because he's never going to be able to answer those questions. He's going to look like a fool.
Yeah. If he can't control the narrative.
Yeah, true.
100%.
You know, I realized that in the beginning of the stream, I forgot to plug the channels. You can find Jenna Miscavige's channel at Jenna Miscavige. You can find Natalie's channel at Scientology, Life After Occult. Congratulations, Natalie, on passing 19,000 subscribers.
Wow, good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hoorah.
Look at all those videos. 468. You're busy.
468.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's no
and
joke.
then Mike Brown, you can find his channel at Mike Brown or at Mike Brown 101. And you can find my channel, if you're not yet familiar with, at Growing Up in Scientology. And actually, just for fun, you guys, I know it's been a while since I've done anything like this, but I have some merch that I'm going to do a free giveaway on. One thing is I have a brown leather iPhone 15 Pro Max case from Ridge. Very special, but that means meaning very specialized. So you only want this if you've got an iPhone 15 Pro Max. So when the time comes, I'm going to do a giveaway on that. And I want to do a giveaway on a combo set of Ridge wallet, Ridge key case. Brass is the color. And just for fun, the Ridge High Dive Blue beanie. And
me at the beanie.
It's been pre-worn. Hold on.
It's covered in
Pre-worn,
pheromones.
but only here in the studio. There you go. See, it's pre-worn. There. Anyway,
So you can do your surge impression. Yeah.
Oh my God. I should keep this.
You got to wear it back a little bit, and it's got to have the right wrinkles.
Yeah.
This can be just like when I do videos with Jenna, I'm always going to wear the pink shirt. When I do videos with Serge, I should always wear a Ridge beanie. I'll do a giveaway for this one. Huh?
Why the pink shirt?
Oh, just
because that's the
just for fun.
dedicated color for Jenna at this point,
Oh,
right?
because it matches the flowers in her background.
There you go.
Yeah.
Can't get the hat straight. Hold on. It's crooked.
It looks like one of the 7 dwarfs.
I look like one of the 7 dwarfs?
The way you...
Just one, or
the one that has the hat, like a beanie.
Mm-hmm. That slouchy one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dopey, I think.
What do you guys thoughts on well, we talked about just the restraining orders as a strategy, but you know, one of the things I noticed that I kind of dawned on me for the first time as I was doing a live stream about this yesterday is you have this weird contrast between them going to great lengths to keep Sea Org members away from the protesters.
Mhm.
And that is how you know you need to be very wary of the people that they keep sending out there, because that's a strategy. Like if the same person keeps coming out, that's a strategy, because
right?
everyone else is intentionally being kept away from you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
100%. So that person is cleared. They're trusted. They know they're under control. They know that they can release them into the wild to do something and they'll come back. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into this. You know, like when I blew, it was a big shock because I was one of the people that they would release into the wild to get people to come back when they left.
Ooh, you were trusted. Did you have special privileges?
Yeah, I was part of their security drills and stuff. So I actually, when I was doing research about something for my mother's case and reaching out to people, they said it was a total mystery that I left. Like I was not on their radar at all. And then I blew, and it was just like, what?
Yeah,
so it was a huge break in trust for them because they try to manipulate. Okay, who do we have well manipulated and under control? Jenna knows this. And that's why Jenna was never in a position where she was allowed to do anything, because she was always so volatile. Like they could never control you. So then they had to control you on the inside, but they could never let you go out very far. Anyway, even though you're kind of tied into it by your family, it's so strange. But so those people that are doing that, like Scooter Guy, do we know who Scooter Guy is? Do we like have his name?
Yes.
Is it on the?
We do have his name order? Because it's on the TRO. It's a I want to say Philip Jansen, but let me
okay, I'll get more information from Rosemary. She'll probably see this and text me if it's Philip Jansen or whatever it is, and she can text me, Mom, if you know anything about this dude. It'd be interesting just to find out.
Philip Campus. I'm sorry, Philip Campus.
Philip Campus. So he's obviously somebody that works probably in one of the estates organizations, because most of the time estates, at least up at Gold, estates would sort of supplement security, and I don't know if that's kind of the same for some of the PBC stuff or not.
I think he's public.
I think he's
think
public.
so?
I said last night that I thought only Sea Org members lived in the Fountain building, but there must be something about. I think he's a public.
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay, so the Fountain building, they're renting that out, so that when
But
people
like
come
not
for
just
services
as a
at AO,
hotel, but like actual apartments.
no. So when they come for services at AOLA, like when you come from out of the, from the local area to come to AOLA, they're using the Fountain building now as kind of in-house apartments for people coming for services. So if he is an OSA dude, they could just plug him in to stay there, but it's mainly for people that are supposed to be coming for doing the stuff at AO.
It's got to be part of the scam, because like if it was just his temporary hotel, would he really give it as the address for his residence on a restraining order?
I don't know. He
That's
could,
a
or
good
maybe he's
question.
in trouble. Maybe he's, one of those public who go to Advanced Organization of Los Angeles to do the operating Thetan levels and get told, no, you've not done enough by Julian Swartz.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
one.
that makes
So this
sense.
is one of their buildings that they have, and they're renting it out, or they're using it in a commercial capacity
Mhm.
for people to stay there for their services when they come. So this is kind of just I guess they're doing it the same way as the Fort Harrison. But I don't know why he would put that as his address unless he was a Sea Org member, because a public, like, that would be a temporary residence.
Mhm.
That's the thing.
It doesn't
Like,
make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, maybe he didn't want to give his real home address. Right? Maybe he left with a
Somebody needs to
woman
sleuth
the
that
other
up.
day.
Oh, well, I
Yeah.
guess it's obvious why he put it there, because that's where DOA has to stay away from, or Danny.
Point
So-
to Jenna Miscavige.
Right.
Yeah,
but that can't be his
probably
real
strategy.
address, because that's supposed to be temporary lodging.
Well,
only
they would probably
for
shove
their
him in there if
services.
it served the purpose.
Yeah.
These are the kind of questions that I hope Danny's whoever represents Danny is going to ask at the hearing on the 26th or the 27th, whenever it is.
Absolutely.
But let's see, how about in Street's restraining order hearing, the Joey having to admit that Scientology is paying his legal bills.
Yes, that had to have been a sweet moment. Wish he could have been there. Do you know what the details were around it, where he had to admit it? I knew he had to admit it, but I was curious as to how it came up. How they were, what the question was. Who pays your legal fees? Because do you get to ask that in court? But it played into, I guess, the whole motive.
I think they just knew that Scientology was paying the legal fees, and they asked the question, is Scientology paying your attorney's fees?
Mhm.
And my understanding from talking to Dodge was that they tried not to answer the question. They objected to the question. He didn't want to answer the question, but judge is like, it's a fair question. Answer the question.
Well, see, this is the thing, and this is why Scientology or Sea Org members that live there won't be filing the restraining orders, because they are all hot to trot on our First Amendment rights, freedom of speech and religion, and crying about this and weaponizing the Constitution for us. But then they put out a restraining order against protesters that are exercising their First Amendment rights. It undermines their whole case for why they are allowed to get away with whatever they want. So when they then have a guy who's not a Scientologist or a public Scientologist and not a member of the organization itself, it gets around that, because a member of the organization is a representative of that organization.
Mhm.
So if that person would do it, a security guard, an executive there, anyone who lived and is jammed into those buildings like Rosemary was talking about, that goes that flies right into the teeth of all the problems that they're trying to keep themselves out of.
True. Very, very true.
That makes sense.
Real quick, how about I do the first giveaway on this phone case here? This is tobacco, brown leather,
giveaway.
Ridge iPhone. Actually, let me see. Should I pop it out and show everyone what it looks like?
Is it black or is it like
Hannah
tan?
White, that thing. Come on,
brown.
show it. We want to hear
It's
a
brown.
really good
Brown is beautiful.
description.
Mm.
Sell it.
Mhm.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Look at that.
Mhm. Oh,
That actually
yeah.
looks nice.
It's mildly creepy, but that's okay.
Okay, so all we're gonna do is just, everyone in the live chat you can say whatever you want. It doesn't even have to be words. You can just pound symbols on your keyboard. But burn up the live chat here. It's not like I'm looking for the best phrase. I'm gonna randomly select someone from the live chat. Now, it goes without saying, it should be someone who actually wants this thing. It should be someone with an iPhone 15 Pro Max or who just wants it so they can gift it to someone else who has an iPhone 15 Pro Max.
Yeah, don't tear the box.
Yeah, no, the box is still in mint condition, as is the case. Just burn up the live chat real quick, and I will go in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 to Mary Ann Skivkalo. Okay, someone give it. How do you
Skivakalo?
Skivakalo.
Right. Mary Ann, email me at growingupin.scientology@gmail.com, and I'll get the address to send this bad boy to you. There you go. All right, we'll put that to the side. Okay, very briefly, let's talk about SPTV channels getting demonetized.
Oh.
So Liz Gale's channel got demonetized. Michael's channel got demonetized a couple months ago. And Mike, there was a time when YouTube dinged your channel for demonetization. And Jenna's channel this morning just got dinged for the exact same reason. And the reason is, it seems that the reason is, when channels are new and beginning and starting out, because we tend to help new channels grow by simultaneously streaming to the new channels, what it does is create a situation where those brand new channels have a very, very high % of their content that YouTube can tell is duplicate content from other channels. And it makes the algorithm think that this new channel is just like a spam channel that's republishing other people's content.
Oh, that makes sense.
And I think, and I'm wondering for the because like everyone that got demonetized aside from me, and I've now gotten it handled when I went in and explained that situation and kind of appealed it, I then was put back on. But the rest of you have actually been involved in protesting and I haven't. So I'm wondering if there's almost like metadata embedded into the videos of location, which is the same as other people's location that we're streaming at the same time. I don't know if other streamers are running into that or not, but it could be multiple things playing into that algorithm. But I definitely think duplicative content, like when you simul stream and you don't have original content. So I was like, well, I got to get my crap together and start doing my own videos. And then it kind of, I think, helped that along. But I'm wondering if there's another factor with the protesting in addition to what I dealt with, because I was able to get mine turned back on fairly rapidly, but seems like some of the other stuff is a little bit more painful.
Well, that's right. I remember when you went through this and it seemed like a no-brainer, because they said, if you think this was a mistake, you can appeal, and then you appealed and it got overturned immediately. And it was like, oh, that's a no-brainer. Of course, that's an easy fix. But then Michael did the appeal process. And on this appeal process, you record a little video of yourself and you explain, oh, no, we do live streaming and we're doing simultaneous streaming. And every video on my channel that's duplicate, that looks like a duplicate, is actually a video where I'm in it. And Michael's explanation got rejected, and it says no further opportunity to appeal, reapply for monetization in 90 days. Liz Gale had the exact same thing happen. She gave an explanation, they rejected it, reapply in 90 days. And so clearly there's something wrong, in my opinion, because my understanding is these appeals videos are reviewed by an actual individual, and there's no way an actual individual could conclude that there's some sort of spamminess about it. So I don't know how to explain that. But the reason I even wanted to bring it up at all is because brand new channels should really do everything in their power to focus on putting up as much original, unique content as possible, so that it as early on as possible, so that there's no way to get the algorithm, involved. I do believe the original infraction warning is an automated thing, in my opinion.
Oh, it was in my case. Like it was just that the algorithm itself generated the rejection and it got demonetized. So, and then once it got turned back over, any of my videos that I had already gone through and set the monetization on, I had to go and reset that up. Like it demonetized everything. And then once it was turned back on, you had to go in and like on the backside, actually re-edit, or not re-edit everything, but actually reselect everything for monetization video by video. But this is before I was setting my own ad locations too. So it was just automatically doing that on its own. So I don't know if that fell off or not, which that would be a big deal because that's a lot of work. So
yeah.
Anyway.
So like on a channel like mine where I'm doing 60 to 90 videos a month, if like 10 or 15 of those videos are simul-streamed to other channels, I still have a very, very large percentage of my content that YouTube's going to know is original content. I think it's even more important for brand new channels, smaller channels, to have the vast majority of their content be original and then just a small percentage be simultaneously streaming. Ironically, we are streaming on all 4 channels right now.
But
even though
we get to chat it up.
Yeah. So if you get dinged tomorrow, Mike, I apologize.
That's all right. I need to get back on to doing stuff. I've been too busy with all work and no play makes Mike a dull boy, and I need to get back onto SPTV. So I'm coming back.
Yeah,
come on, Mike, slacker.
I got some good stuff to do too. It's gonna be slanderous anyway.
Let me bring up some of these comments
Yeah,
here.
wait,
SPTV Atlanta says DOA said they learned a lot from this.
Yeah, no doubt. What a learning experience. There's so many things I thought, because after watching it, I was like, if I was making an encampment, what would I want there? Of course, it involved more candles and, larger plants. And
well, the fact they kept it so clean and everything in LA, anyone who's been through there, most of these like unhomed encampments are not well taken care of, and those people aren't, like, they're struggling. So them doing something and keeping it on the up and up and actually taking care of the space and doing a lot with with people that are homeless and stuff, that's amazing. Because I don't know, was Scientology giving out free food? They probably were, just to get after, if they were, it was because the protesters were and they were trying to override everything that they were doing. But I think from what I can tell, the actual setup looked like they did as good as they could with the location itself.
Yeah.
Did you see when one of the security guards left his plate out on one of the tables on LRH Way? DOA was like, "Oh, look, they must have put this out for the homeless. I'm homeless." And he ate the food.
Yeah.
This looks delicious.
He ate his food.
Walk down the street eating the sausage.
I wanted to say that one of the reasons that I don't think that, that it being shortened is a failure is just the fact that DOA and everyone else who was out there, just the fact that they were doing this for people who grew up in Scientology, kids who grew up there, it's so fucking meaningful to me that they're even making a movement out of this. And I'm sure for all of you guys too. So if nothing else, the fact that somebody would go out there and do that for people like us, DOA is like such a sweetie. That he's doing that and everyone else means so much to me.
Definitely. And there's new ones all the time. I think there's over 200 streaming channels right now on sptv.space or close to it. There's and all over the place. I've been watching stuff in Denmark. It's been fun what they've been doing just all over. Jay was in Phoenix. There's people out in Kansas City, a lot who are regulars. And then there are some who are doing it once in a while. And same thing. It always just blows my mind too. Like, that's just amazing. Like, didn't even occur to me before. And now having done it, having tried protesting and done it a couple of times, like, I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, and for sure. And this was all about kids. Like, it's the first time that there's been a thing that's just about kids. And I didn't even, I left Scientology when I was 21. I was still basically a kid. The whole time I was there, I was a kid. So it's just so cool that part of the message is getting out there and is really being taken seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the only way anyone could even try to characterize it as anything other than a success is because we knew they wanted to stay there for a month. But if they had said, hey, we only want to stay here for a week, mission accomplished.
Right. It's still the longest time it's ever happened.
100%. And when we go into any operation in the military, you have a plan. The plan changes as soon as you have first contact with the enemy. Like, you adapt the plan as you need to. Like, the fact that they were out there for a week, like, how long were the totality of the anonymous protesting? Like,
a couple years, I think.
Well, no, the anonymous protesting wasn't. No, there were a couple weeks long, I think, in terms of the whole movement was maybe a month or two. But it was.
Right, but they're only out there for a few hours at a time.
Yeah, and the fact that they're not camping out there tonight, it doesn't mean they're not going to be back. I promise you, they're going to be back. This isn't over. They just literally moved their stuff and they're like, I'm going to go sleep on a mattress.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I'll tell you what Scientology really has to worry about. The last few days of the month after the hearings, after Danny's and DOA's temporary restraining order hearings. I mean, if DOA's hearings are any indicator, I guess DOA's and Danny's hearings might go on for 2 or 3 days. But however long they go on for, that the last day or two of the month are going to be out of control.
Oh,
Yeah.
Assuming they get thrown out, of course, which, you know,
You
I believe that they will.
know what surprised me, to kind of like jump subjects a little bit? Have you guys been following Boobgate in Chicago
Yes,
with Nancy
ridiculousness.
Drew?
What's the
That
update?
She bumped into a guy with her
allegedly he made
side boob.
Chadwick.
contact
Like,
made, yeah, with a little bit of side boob, and they pressed charges, and then it was like all like, nah, this wasn't going to happen. But then the judge said, well, they have 160 days to refile, and they did refile. That just blows my mind. Where's the, I don't get the strategy in that from Scientology's point of view, because it's like you're going to go to court and actually stand behind this. It's
I
so
know it's such a good joke. Like,
yeah. How do they not get it?
how can that not become viral and destroy them?
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That's why they're their own worst enemy, honestly.
Yeah.
And I hope that it does. I hope it ends quickly. Or, you know, on one hand, I was like, well, you want this. I wanted it to stop for Nance Drew because that's such a pain in the butt. And what a horrific experience. She was in jail for 5.5 hours. But what it's the attention that can still continue to grab. I mean, the jokes are just endless and it makes them look just so, there's something so inherently petty about that, more than, at least for me, it strikes me as being more petty than some of the other things that they've done in the past in history, right? When it comes to the petty things. But were you guys surprised that happened?
No, but it's funny that, you know, because a lot of the times everyone else, like in LA, they are, for the most part, the ones that are running into the problems with the restraining orders are male. So they're men. And then her being a woman, it seems like it's going to be a harder bridge to cross. You know, like they're saying, like, she attacked me with her boob.
Mm.
Like, is there footage of her like running around like what's the, like, how do you prove that? Like, I was assaulted by a boob. Like that's like an early 80s sitcom show or something where this would like this. I don't know how this could possibly like actually stick. It's just an annoyance. And I think Scientology's main thing is they think that if they demonetize people, they'll go away. If they harass people and make it hard for them, they're going to go away. Like, I'm pretty sure that William Good is going to be doing this for the rest of his life or until Scientology is gone. Like, that guy is on a mission. Like, he's not going to go away. And he's infectious with the way that he does it. And this isn't going away. Like, if my channel gets demonetized, like, I'm not making that much money on this anyway. I got another thing. This is 100% like, this is a passion for me to do. This is a labor of love. And that is for most people true. Now, if people are able to get compensated for their time and money, that's great because it makes it easier for them to do it. But the reason we're doing this is not to make money. That's what people need to understand. And Scientology thinks that they're going to get us to stop and get these protesters to stop because they make it hard for them, when in fact, they're just reacting to them. And that's kind of what they want, one way or the other. They want interaction. They want to see what's happening. They're proving what's going on. So yeah.
You're so right. And full disclosure, I am also here to make money.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm all about it. But that being said, like, we're not. It's like Natalie's like, you know,
I get your point.
I hate Scientology because it's profitable. Like, that's not what it is at all. But yes, I think it's okay for people to make money on this.
Yeah, 100%. No, totally. But I mean, let's be honest. I would have done it for a Happy Meal, just because it is that important and fulfilling and fun.
How about Taco
and
Bell?
Healing.
Would you do it for Taco Bell?
No, man, it's got to be that McDonald's.
Well, if anybody should be making money on it too, it should be the people who were basically like slave laborers as children and were deprived of an education and had to deal with all this shit and family disconnection. So if anyone should be making money on it, then better be us than some random journalists who turn every story into Tom Cruise anyways.
Yeah.
I think as many people who can make money off of the demise of Scientology, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's incentivizing.
it just adds to, there's something to that, in that I think that's part of what gets them so pissed off about it, because it's one thing when there were protesters before with Anonymous, there wasn't live streaming, and there definitely wasn't the ability to be able to make a living to do it. And I think it has it's this double-sided sword for them in that way. It's like, no matter what, it cuts, and it cuts deep. Because people, and the fact them saying that, well, they're just paid protesters. The rest of the world, in the meantime, is like, well, yeah, I mean, content creators, that's kind of a job now. That's how they work. That's what they do. Why wouldn't they be paid? That's just not a thing.
But this is the thing. To say that they're paid protesters, it's almost disingenuous. And this is why.
Yeah.
A paid protester for Scientology is like Scooter Guy. He's being paid money to go and do something.
Yeah.
So the content creators, they're making content, and they're either successful or unsuccessful based off of if people find value in watching them.
Yeah.
So if you're not good, people won't watch you and you won't make money, or you'll cap out somewhere. So success is based off of individual, like the message you're bringing forward, and if people either want it or don't. It's 100% consumer based. So it has nothing to do with a paid protester. So that's, you're being paid because you're providing, ultimately you're making money for Google. So you're a Google employee that happens to do content, so you're not a paid protester. That's just not quite right.
Yeah. That's what's funny, is they don't get it right. That's kind of the point. It's hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with you. It's the difference between someone saying, here's money, go do that thing.
Yeah.
Versus someone doing a thing and people going, wow, I love what you do. I'm going to give you some money to support what you're doing.
Yeah.
Totally different thing. And it's a very strange criticism to levy against someone, that someone's making money doing something. And it's like, if someone, it's a weird way to criticize someone. Like, would it be better? Like, if you weren't making any money because you weren't getting any viewers and people didn't want to support you, you'd be criticized for that. But if people do like what you're doing and then they do support you, people will try to criticize you for that. And it's like, people being able to make money doing content, exposing Scientology, or bringing more eyeballs and bringing more attention to the problem, is Scientology's worst nightmare. I always scratch my head when I hear anyone criticizing a channel for making money doing it. And it's like, you should want more people to be able to make money doing this. That's what brings more milkshakes to the yard.
Absolutely. They hate it. They hate it. And I just love anything they hate.
Well, yeah, I think you got the milkshake thing backwards, but I think we got what you're talking about.
I wasn't going to say your milkshake brings people to the yard. I was saying bringing more milkshakes to the yard.
To the yard, so that we can bring people to the yard with more milkshakes. I got it now. So it's sort of like, for instance, like, let's talk about Tom Cruise, because we can't not. So he does this movie called Top Gun. And then people after Top Gun, the Navy experienced more people saying, I want to fly jets, than they ever did in history. And the recruiting after Top Gun for the Navy goes way up. And then people are like, I don't like this so much. And then they left. So that's like, but it wasn't a recruitment video. Oh boy, here it goes. But it's the same kind of thing. The military got a benefit from that movie, but the military wasn't paying for it. Anyway.
Some free advertising in there.
Crappy analogy, but the best I could come up with. More pheromones for the Ridge giveaway.
I think I'm going to keep this one until I get another one, so that if me and Serge do videos, I have a beanie to wear. I want to be. We can be the Beanie Brothers.
Beanie Brothers, yeah.
Beanie Brothers
Not
from
the
Dinner
Beanie
Mothers.
Babies.
Beanie Brothers forever.
Going back to Boobgate, I just think it's funnier that the guy, his name was Chadwick, and he looked like the 40-year-old virgin. I just think it makes it all so much better. So much funnier.
It was the first boob he was touched with, and it scarred him.
Absolutely.
I called the police.
Are you just ragging on the guy, or was there someone named Chadwick in that movie?
No,
That's his name.
It's just a
yeah,
kind
that's,
of
that's the same.
nerdy name.
No, I know, but was there someone named Chadwick in the 40-year-old version?
Oh
movie?
no, but it just sounds like
Okay.
yeah.
Like he's predisposed for it.
Yeah.
Hello, oh no, Nora, who's in the chat.
Hi, Nora.
Nora has been crushing it. Like, it is so much fun to watch Nora's videos. She's really grown into her. I don't even know grown into what grown into the YouTube game. Like she's so comfortable. She's so spontaneous. She's so funny. And I had such a blast the last 2 videos that we did together, even though one of them was a little difficult. She's such a riot.
I love watching her. I listen to Nora in the shower. I have a shower speaker now. I'm so excited about it. So now I can listen to, streams or, podcasts or whatever. It is next level fun. If you guys are not doing this, apparently other people were. I didn't know about it, but you can listen to whatever in the shower.
Mhm.
Is it outside the shower or is it hanging in the shower?
In the shower. It's a waterproof speaker.
Mm.
And then you hang it in the shower and it sounds really good too. You actually can shower because the shower is loud and hear it.
Wow.
I'm ridiculously excited about this
I need that.
because I would be missing showers because I didn't want to stop listening. I only had a certain amount of time and I had to choose one. I was like,
You know what I did? I got one of those Apple HomePod speakers.
Yeah.
And I just drag that into the bathroom and play it really loud. But it's so echoey off the walls that sometimes it's still hard to hear a
That's
little
why
bit.
you
You
need
know?
in the shower.
Yeah.
It's a smaller space. And I think maybe the water muffles it or something, but it is super cool. It's very enjoyable. It actually helps me stay in the shower longer. That's one thing I've not been able to break all these years, even after being in the Sea Org. I cannot tell me, you guys, where you at on long showers? I cannot take a long shower. It's really hard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I take the longest showers for the same reason that you apparently don't.
Oh, I love a long shower.
I only take long showers. That's how I get warm.
I take long and hot.
Hot.
Yes. No hot water. Oh my God.
I'm the only one depriving herself.
Yeah.
I took one of those laser thermometers in the shower with me the other day because I was like, no one is going to believe how hot my shower is when I say I take a hot shower. And the water was like 123 degrees. It's pretty hot.
How is the water even that hot in your house? Is
Oh,
that legal?
You just crank up the heater.
You just crank up the water heater. Yeah.
Wow. That is really hot. What's the average temperature?
I don't know.
Scalding.
Less
Like
hot
short of
than that.
blisters. Yeah.
Nona Boss Audits and Investigations. Good to see you in the chat, Nona Boss. Indigo Twin, thanks for sharing your stories. I stand with you. You're not alone. Stay strong, Jenna, Mike, Aaron, and Natalie. Rabbit is in the chat. Down the rabbit hole news. Good to see you. Oh, I forgot to mention this. So many people were mentioning this in the chat. Scientology managed to extend the permit for their stupid little street event for another week.
Oh, that's
I got to tell you that actually makes me glad they broke down the camp.
Yeah.
Well, now,
because I was like,
factually, they could, because they're not camping there, they could do more drive-by honking too.
During the day.
There was some honking problem, wasn't there?
So the problem was when the
Bothers the
honking bothers the neighbors. Yeah, you don't want to bother the neighbors. So that's true.
I would just like to see the camp pop up, one time when Scientology doesn't know it's popping up. And because they'll never be able to get a permit to close the street on just a moment's notice or a day's notice or 2 days notice.
You'd think, but there's a lot of things they seem to be able to get away with that we wouldn't think, or the average person would not be able to do.
All that tax-free money going to work.
Making it rain.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe if people are honking when Scientology has the street blocked off, then they'll have to take it down because too many people are honking.
There's neighbors. There was a neighbor who took out a megaphone from their balcony and was megaphoning to the blue buildings from across the street, turn down the music, turn off the music. Then they would hit the button for the siren part. Oh, it was great.
Oh my goodness. That's
turn
amazing.
down the music.
Okay, good. I'll tell you what, it's getting close to the top of the hour. Why don't I do the second giveaway? And this actually is applicable to, it doesn't matter which channel you're watching on, guys. In the back office on live stream, which is where we're looking at the live chat, I can see everyone's comments, even if you're not watching on my channel. So I've got like 1,500 watching on my channel. We've got about 2,500 watching total. It doesn't matter which live chat you're in. Go ahead and burn it up. This is, I'll show you guys what this looks like real quick.
Mhm.
Boom. This is the Ridge wallet.
Is that metal?
Okay.
It looks metal. That's not metal.
It is.
Metal?
It's actually brass. It is metal.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, what do you
Yeah.
put? How can you fit anything in there?
It
What do you mean?
expands.
Well, that's not the idea, though.
So, like, let's say this is the card.
Yeah.
You just put the card in.
Yeah.
See, and what's cool about these, and I have
Oh,
one.
and then it's
See, it's
metal,
only-
and it doesn't bend it. Oh,
Yeah.
I get it now.
Well, what's cool about
Yeah, it
it
comes
is
out
their
like this.
RF. They block RF. So if somebody's trying
do?
to steal, yeah. So if somebody's trying to, you know how all the cards have the
Yeah.
chips in them now. So those Ridge wallet, they'll actually block a signal. So if they're trying to ping the card to get all the information off of it to steal your
Yeah.
identity, if you're
Oh,
using one
that's
of these
cool.
wallets, you can't do that. So skimmers, because sometimes people walk around airports just collecting information. And
Oh,
if
that's
your
super cool.
cards are open and they're not in an RFID secure wallet, you can
Yeah.
actually have your identity stolen and you'll have to get new cards and dispute all the charges and stuff. But if you keep your stuff in this, you're not going to get messed with.
Wow.
Yeah. And then this is the key case. I won't bother taking it out. And guys, this is the giveaway. But if you want to shop Ridge's Father's Day sale, they are a sponsor of my channel. And you can go to ridge.com/Aaron for up to 40% off your favorite items site wide. I mean, together, this is at least a couple $100, maybe 100,
Mhm.
$250 for this together. Okay, guys. So burn up the live chat. I'm going to
Burn it up,
select
burn it
someone
up, burn it up.
randomly.
Burn it up,
In
burn it up, burn it up.
5, 4,
Do,
3,
do, do, do,
2,
do, do,
1.
do.
Let me see, guys. Let me see. Psych. No, hold on. Oh.
They're jumping.
No. I starred one and then I lost it. Oh well. Here we go. And wait. I keep losing it. Okay.
You're moving
Here we
fast.
go. Jesus is God gets in. Praise be. Jesus is God. You can email me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com and I will send this on out to you. Thanks for playing along, guys.
Give me my wallet.
That was fun. That was amazing.
What do we get for being here?
I don't know. You get
Do you give out gift
Peace,
bags?
love, and understanding.
unconditional love. Peace on earth.
I guess it would be
Um,
to bring a hostess gift. A host gift.
host
It'd be the other way.
Let's see here. Eat more pizza now. Thank you for gifting 5 channel memberships.
Hip
Very,
hip
very kind of you.
hooray. Oh,
One of my amazing mods. I think this might be on your channel, Natalie. Casey Cat says, for you and my Tony to have dinner on me Sunday to celebrate my 68th trip around the sun. I'm celebrating with a birthday stream at the Kansas City Org.
Oh, that's awesome, Casey Cat. Thank
Wow.
you. And what a fabulous way to spread your birthday. We will do some serious DoorDash or local takeout. We've been discovering restaurants nearby because we hardly ever used to eat out because Tony is such a good cook. And now that I'm in charge of things more, he's just like not having it. But yeah, we have found some other local places. So thank you.
Excuse me. Says setting up my devices to watch on all channels.
So
There you
sweet.
go. And eat more pizza now. Aaron, I need wireless earbuds. Do you have a recommendation? Raycon. No, buyraycon.com/SPTV. Thank you for the softball setup. Let's see. Peter Foster says, did you see Aja catch the cop use the porta potty, then shortly after they were removed? So
Oh,
funny.
I did not see that yet. I hope somebody clips it and send it to Natalie at lifeafteraccult.com.
Lethanda Grauklinger says, did anything a protester said or had on their sign ever trigger a rebellious thought in any of you while you were still in? Like the story that Tori told.
A rebellious thought.
I know when I was
I mean,
at
for me,
Gold,
no.
like we weren't allowed to be outside to see their signs
Yeah.
because they would always tell us they have squirreled confidential OT materials written on the signs. They're trying to kill you all by putting the OT materials on the signs. You know, it's dangerous and danger. So everyone's hiding inside the buildings or like so they can't be seen by the road. You know, meanwhile, it's
So
like
they're not
John A.
turned into
Tech and like
zombies.
some whoever the, whoever out on the highway, like, for like 5 or 10 minutes. Anyway, it wasn't.
And I always was kind of like, how exactly could information kill you? Like,
Mhm.
it's like, what are the
See, that was the-
mechanics of that?
That was the thing, like this whole, like, you can't know this information or you'll get sick and like get really sick and die. This whole OT3 thing, it's
Yeah,
all
pneumonia.
it's they
Pneumonia.
get pneumonia and die. Like this whole manipulation, it just didn't make sense. But you're in this mindset of like, hey, the secret stuff is going to make me like amazing someday once I find out about it. But this is what we're protecting. It's a very much an us versus them thing that is constantly going on, and the protesters are seen as not only non-Scientologists, but the enemy of man or something
Yeah.
like that. It's very, very weird.
Or psychotic. That's a popular
Yeah.
one. where
But
they
Jenna,
list
did you
it
see
out.
anything peeking out the windows on the buses or anything?
No. I think I may have seen some things, but I didn't know what they meant. Like if I would have seen Xeno, I would have been like, is that a different language? Like I wouldn't have recognized it as anything.
They misspelled Xerox.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that even when I was in, it was like, I don't know that I really bought into the fact that it could really hurt you. So I think the fact that we couldn't see those things, it was like, but can it really, like, how would that even work? And so I think even just something that we couldn't see, like, sort of led to a little bit of questioning.
Yeah, my rebellion started with looking on the internet. And it wasn't at that time. I mean, there were the anonymous protesters were there, but the more the impact that it had on me was that they were people that weren't in Scientology. And I was like, I could understand because I'd already had my issues with Scientology for a while and wanted to leave. And so I get it if you've been in Scientology, and it just amazed me that many of them were never in Scientology. And I had the opportunity to meet some of them after I had left. And it was so interesting to hear their perspective of how it looked from the outside. And, and having come so fresh from that other side myself. But the fact that there were so many of them and so many of them never in Scientology was the thing that made me go, wow, like, this is amazing. This is really it's not just me seeing it. It's not just a few of us seeing it. Now the world is finally starting to see it. And that was in 2008.
Yeah, that's such a good point. There was so many more protesters. Like at Flag, there was like, I don't know, maybe like 10, but I can imagine because I was protesting with Anonymous, and like just in LA, so many people on Hollywood Boulevard that would have made like a big difference. Just knowing that there were so many people who knew about it and were against it in some way.
Yeah, so true.
I had a thought I was going to say, and I forgot what it was, but that's okay.
You decided on
right.
our gift. I take gift cards, Aaron.
Allison Metcalf Palumbo says, Jenna, SPTV book club coming soon on my channel. Primal Scream, not under my name here. Oh, okay. Interactive live stream. And we are starting with your book the second half of June. Date to be determined, as I just got my book today.
Oh, that's amazing.
Fantastic idea.
Oh, thank you so much for getting my book. That's wonderful.
And doing book club like that. How fun.
Yeah.
It's good on Audible too. If anyone listens to books, the Audible recording of it is actually very well done. And it even the talent for it is a young lady, so it sounds, I mean, she has a different voice than Jenna, but you can kind of, it's not who they chose. I thought was actually really good.
When I hear the voice on the audiobook, I think they did an amazing job of casting someone who sounds like Jenna, even though Jenna doesn't think it sounds like her. I think it does.
Well, I like listened to it like once, like, it's weird. Someone pretending to be you. You're like,
yeah,
who is this person? But anyways,
yeah.
But she did great.
All right, let's see. Okay, what I'm looking for, guys, is starred comments that begin with question. Okay, here's one I see quickly. Isn't the attack on Danny also elder abuse by Scientology. If Danny was a bad guy, using the elder as bait seems like abuse. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it is for
It
sure.
is.
It's manipulation at least, and then which is they are abusing him. If he is a Sea Org member, well, that's the thing. Like, is Scooter Guy a Sea Org member, or we're saying he's public?
I think we're kind of I think
not
he's
sure?
public, but he could be Sea Org.
Here's why I decided today he probably wasn't a Sea Org member, because he was caught walking down L. Ron Hubbard Way in the middle of production time with like a hoodie and jeans and coffee.
Yeah,
and
but if that's his tasking, they just let him walk around the block and walk back over. He just departs from one area and comes back in, or they drive him out and have him walk back in. Just put him in one of the vans, and like if that's his tasking, they would let him walk back there because that's where they want him to go.
Well, I
you
have
know
$5 that says public. If you guys want to get in on this, I think we're going to find out for sure. So $5 says public. Mike, you're still sticking with Sea Org?
I think he's Sea Org. But I guess
I just
it's a gray
realized
area
that
if
we
he's
put his
working
name
for
out
OSO,
there,
which
and
he obviously
we've
is.
put his name and his face out there. Someone's got to be able to tell us if he's a public or a Sea Org member. So his name is Philip Campus, PHILLIPCAMPUS.
The chat will let
Someone
us
out there.
know.
Someone out there knows. Yeah.
I think I guess that he's a Sea
We're
Org
talking
member.
that guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Totes.
I mean, are those cuffed jeans? I just don't see even a Sea Org member changing clothes and dressing as he does.
And he has
He has
Aaron's
OT
hoodie
jacket on.
Like, how
He's
did
got
he
OT
get that
jacket
hoodie?
on.
Or not the hoodie, the beanie.
Beanie.
He got the Aaron beanie on. Yeah, but it has a stripe.
He's trying to
It's a
join
lot
the
of
Beanie
pheromones.
Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua Cox says, if any of you die from pneumonia later in life, Scientology will say, ha, told you so.
If we die of pneumonia later in life, it will be because of all that asbestos we had to move around as children at the ranch.
Oh, she's not wrong.
Wait, gentlemen,
Okay, at the ranch, Jenna, do you remember this? They had us this main house that we were in. They called it the big house, which when we were kids,
Yeah.
we didn't realize that big house is actually slang for prison. It is. But this was a really old historical building, and all of the roofing tiles were asbestos. So they had us remove them all, and then they went and buried them on the property somewhere. And then they realized they can't do that. So they had the kids unbury them and sift it out from the dirt by hand in order to put it in a bag so they can dispose of it. We dealt with this crap for years. It was like, once it was finally done, then we're out there digging the asbestos out of the ground so that because now they wanted to put farm fields on there.
And masks, or
No.
I don't know, Jenna, did you have gloves and masks?
Absolutely not. No, I didn't even know what asbestos was, but they would be like, it's asbestos, but don't worry, it's just calcium and magnesium, so it's not bad for you. And I was like, I didn't know it was bad, but why are you saying that?
Yeah, wow. So you dug it? Did you have shovels?
Yeah,
I remember it coming
we were
out of
doing
the
it by
building
hand,
and
but it was all
being in
busted
front of
up.
the building, and then we would load it up by hand to go bury
No
it,
gloves. No
put it in
mask.
wheelbarrows. Yeah, no gloves.
These were like
That is
square
so
roofing
illegal.
tiles.
Yeah.
Square roofing tiles. They were like these like pinkish red, almost terracotta sort of texture. And then they were very fibrous, and then they would break into pieces, and we'd have to sweep it all up, and there would be just
They're like
chunks of
shards.
like dust of asbestos and shards, and it would shatter. So then when the stuff all got thrown in the ground, it was all shattered, and they just buried dirt on top of it. So now we're digging up like cubic yards of dirt in order to sift the asbestos out of it at this ranch property that they ended up giving back to the Indians.
It's
And I
so
guarantee
crazy that
Laura
it
would remember that too.
come
This
back
was a
out.
thing. Yeah, it took months.
Yeah, and I remember when
Yeah.
it was getting buried, it was the health inspector was coming, and it was like, hide the asbestos, bury it. And then it had to get unburied later.
And that's because it was like, now we're going to plant these fields for the food that we're going to be making for the international base executives. Dig up the asbestos. We're not planting on top of it. Anyway.
Is that for real?
Yes.
The part about
We buried it in the fields that ended up
planting
being the
on top of
fields. Yeah. We ended up putting greenhouses in the area where the asbestos was, which was along that big back hill that came down from the lower reservoir.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy that at that time they didn't think that. No one stopped to think, I don't know, maybe one of these kids might grow up and say something. I mean, just no predict at all.
I'll have to do a video and actually show on the map where that stuff is and tell people, hey, go out here and dig and you'll find asbestos.
Exactly.
You
I
know,
know where
go
it is
across.
still.
Oh, I know exactly where it is. I could pull it up
Yeah.
in Google Earth if I wanted to.
Wow, you guys
Did
totally
they bury it in bags or just
No,
dropped it in a hole?
in a hole.
Big old
They had
hole.
a backhoe dug a hole, and we, as kids with wheelbarrows, took it all, pulled it down off the roof, busted it up with hammers, swept it all into wheelbarrows, took it down this hill and dumped it in the hole, and then they backfilled it. Then we had to dig it up.
Oh my God.
100%. This was what we were doing as kids. Like, we were the cheap labor solutions. And you know how it is in Scientology. Whatever's important this week for the statistics is important. And that's tomorrow Mike's problem. Like, whatever, like that's, and then now you're handling a thing over and over and over again due to organizational inefficiency. That was our life. 100%.
Wow. That's nuts.
Unbelievable.
Mhm.
There's one thing that was exposed, possibly. Check this out. What are your thoughts on the attempt at work with concrete truck that DOA stopped? No permit. Do you think they are adding more tunnels?
Mm-mm. I don't think they are. I literally think, like, because at Flag at one point, Tom DeVock, when he was in charge of renovations at Flag, that is a strategy they'll use for anti-protesting, is they'll just go out and they're like, we're going to replace the sidewalk. And even if they don't need to do it, they'll just tear up the sidewalk to re-pour it just to disrupt them. So they will take and spend money to replace something to get a work permit just to mess with the protesters, so they can't use that space because it's under renovation construction. I wouldn't be surprised if they're actually getting permits to redo all the sidewalks just to keep people off of them.
But so they weren't redoing any sidewalks though.
I wonder if
I
it
don't know
had
what they're
something to do
doing.
with the parking garage, because wasn't there some issue with the foundation?
Could be something
of the
there.
parking garage, and
That
it's
thing's old
right
as crap.
there. Exactly, and it's right there next to the building. So maybe they were filling something in or trying to do some kind of foundation.
You know, I guess I didn't watch enough of the stream that day. Did the concrete truck ever end up unloading any of its concrete?
Not as far as I watched, but I didn't get through the whole day either. But I didn't hear that happened. But maybe, I don't know, maybe someone in the chat knows. Did the concrete get poured?
Yeah, I'm looking in the live chat, guys. Did any of the concrete actually get poured? They're saying no, there was no concrete ever poured. Because I know there was a question like, could they possibly be tunneling under Fountain so that people can park in the parking structure and not have to walk around the protesters to get to
Wow, if they're going to take it that far, I mean, that is some serious bunker mentality. I mean, that could be the start of Scientology taking a serious turn in the direction of Waco.
Going underground.
They're going underground like that, but you know, that's one thing to do it at the base there, but what is this going to look like in other organizations around the world for Scientology? And what's the narrative that they're going to be painting as well? That's just so bizarre. Or it could not be that at all. I'm just speculating.
Yeah. Okay, Hollywood Aja's in the chat. Good to see you, Hollywood Aja.
Hey, Aja.
Okay, this is an interesting one. Elizabeth asks, when posters of Jesse Prince were posted inside Big Blue warning against him, did anyone recognize him as a former Scientology executive? Well, did anyone say there was posters of Jesse inside the buildings back in the day?
They were inside the building. It was inside the coachman, like where HCO was in front of the elevators. But I think they said that he was like, they like called him a squirrel or something. And so they kind of said that he was an ex-Scientologist, but I didn't recognize him because I was like 12 and he was probably around like much before that.
Well, I think most people probably wouldn't have recognized him as being, wasn't Jesse, he was Inspector General something, right? Wasn't he one of the IGs?
I think
we
so.
We would have been children at the time.
But many older people there may have recognized him. But I
remember like David Mayo, Jesse Prince. Like when I was a young kid arriving in LA, it was a time, you know, when you were a teenager, Natalie, working in the galley. Like all of what I would hear about these names were the squirrels and the SPs that were gotten rid of, and now everything is being fixed because they're gone.
Yeah,
so
Vicky
that was
similar
to like when Janice was gotten rid of, and then when Rinder and Rathbun were gotten rid of. It's the same narrative all the time. Somebody leaves or somebody gets kicked out, and now they're the big who and the why for why things aren't right in the Sea Org.
There's always the next round.
the
to
next
kick
round
out.
of we kicked out the next group of people that were the
We
problem.
got rid of the
It's never,
bad apples.
it's never Dave. Like
It was those
Or-
people.
yeah, dumb
Totally.
Eat more pizza now. Thank you again so much for gifting 5 channel memberships.
Woohoo!
Anna says, I remember that Scientology got restraining orders against the Lisa McPherson Trust people. Was it one for the group or many for all the people? Was it ever removed? I don't remember the details. I mean, I know the restraining order applied to a whole bunch of specifically named people, but I don't remember if that was accomplished through one restraining order or whether it was accomplished through like 12 different individual restraining orders. And I know that the one against Mark Bunker is still in effect. It's just that it's actually a two-way restraining order. It requires Mark to stay a certain feet away from certain Scientologists and buildings, and it requires Scientologists to stay a certain amount of feet away from him. But they never mention that part of it.
That's interesting. What does he do in the grocery store? I guess they'd have to know who he was, right?
The police have already said they're not going to enforce any complaints about this restraining order, but they don't have it within their power to just throw it away. Like that requires a legal action.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yo Adrian says, what does the public think about having no access to their streets for so long and then seeing them empty? I would be so angry, or at the very least, annoyed. I think this refers to like, what do non-Scientologists think?
The people who
because
live on the
everything-
street, maybe. Because
everything
they
on
block-
Run Hubbard Way now has been bought by Scientology or is owned by Scientologists at this point, right?
But it's rented out to non-Scientologists. There was a guy when they blocked the street off, I think it was on the first day, who was trying to get in, saying that he lived in I think it was like the greenhouse, and security had to come to move the car. First they moved those little things. Then he goes to move the car and the car doesn't work. He couldn't get the car to go backwards. It would only go forward. So this just went on. And then the car would die and he would start the car again. Then he moves it. And then the guy comes in who lives there, and somebody else who's irate who can't get out is right there as well. It is just
They're just making a huge mess of it.
laughable. Yeah, completely.
Here's actually something, and I don't know who to ask to do this, but I feel like there's something that could be done with the city to say, look at the permit request that was submitted by Scientology. Look at what they said this thing was supposed to be. Usually I think you're supposed to put like a number of expected people. Look how they shut down an entire public street for an event that nobody came to.
Yeah.
Because the city has it within their discretion to disapprove event permits.
Yeah.
And when you can show that they requested this event permit as obvious retaliation for what they knew was a planned protest, and nobody fucking came to their event, how can you trust any permit application they submit?
And
Also, like they're soaking up city resources without paying taxes.
Yeah.
Like I know that everyone, should have access to everything but these people are a for-profit corporation disguising themselves as a religion that wants nothing but services from the city and is giving nothing in terms of tax revenue that's going into offsetting anyone else's costs. Period. And they should be one of the biggest contributors, and they're not. It's horrible.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Oh, there's something else that I got wrong. Check it out. Cece says the address, and we're talking about the address from this. Why do I keep forgetting his name? Philip what?
I can't remember.
Scooter guy?
Campus?
Yeah.
See?
Krampus?
Philip Campus.
Compass.
I thought when I saw his address on Fountain Avenue, I assumed it was the Fountain Building. I didn't even Google the address. I assumed it was the Fountain Building. Because that's where we see the guy coming in and out of. The address is actually to the bungalows east of the Anthony Building on Fountain.
Hey, what's
not
the address?
a church. Let me pull up the address real quick.
Here, I'll search it on Google Earth right now and pull it up.
Because wouldn't that mean that that's where he has to stay away from?
Yeah, you'd think.
Well, he's saying
Yeah.
he's saying that he's going to his church,
Well,
right?
the two
Oh, I see.
addresses. Yeah. Okay. So he said his address is 5139 Fountain Avenue.
How are you, Jenna?
Yep.
Good.
Let's
Hi,
see.
Natalie.
Here, I'm just gonna share this present so we can see where the stuff is. Share screen. Sorry, make sure I don't show the wrong thing. Okay. All right, I'll let Aaron do the stuff here. Okay, so 5139 Fountain Avenue. No, I'll so here is 5139 Fountain Avenue. This is the Anthony building right here where all of the Scientologists, the Sea Org members live. This piece of crap. I used to live in this building.
Me too.
This is the Anthony building. 5139 is this structure. Literally, if you're walking towards the complex, this is 5139 is right here. So, and then the complex itself is about 5 blocks down, this big pile down on the right side of the screen. So he's down here. 5139 is in one of these these apartments right inside of here. And then the actual Sea Org members live jammed into this building that you can just, I know they haven't done renovations on this thing. This is an absolute mess. And it always was.
Yeah,
But,
I lived there
yeah,
in 2005 and it looked the same as it ever did. And in fact, a Sea Org member got shot in front of there while I was there.
The scooter incident happened. So he came from all the way down the street, basically 5 blocks down, and the scooter incident happened right down in here on the street. I don't think it's going to let me go to Street View. I don't have it all set up properly. But yeah, basically right here on the main drag outside Fountain. This is where he ran into Danny and like shoved himself into him. Ridiculousness.
It's going to be so easy for him to show up to this hearing and poke holes in this thing that I don't think they have any chance. So we're supposed to believe that a guy who's feeble and can't walk without support took his electric scooter 5 blocks and you'll notice, you know, if you've seen the video of the incident, he goes to shove it towards Danny and then Danny grabs it and pulls it to the side and the dude never even falls down.
Mm-mm.
So how feeble and infirm can he be?
He still had his phone in his hand, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he even dropped it.
Well, he was talking to security on the phone, probably.
Yeah. Now, do it now. Ram into him. Run him over.
They're probably saying, no, it's the guy. He's walking on the, closest to the road. They were probably telling him who the guy was that he was supposed to have the altercation with if he was on the phone. Because they're looking at him with the security cameras. That way they don't get the wrong protester. Because they're trying to target Danny. They're trying to target Streets. They're trying to target the leadership of these protesters, the main guys. They were probably walking him in on the target as he was there. That's why he then kind of, you notice at the end, he kind of like almost airs towards him and like kind of pushes himself in that direction. I guarantee that he was being guided into the guy 100%.
Yeah, totally. This next one must have been in reference to what we were talking about, some YouTube issues. Crazy Love is Love says, my biggest issue is subscribers and watch time right now. I want it to get to more people in the area, but I am only one person. Yeah, and that's why it's also
Utah.
Oh, she's protesting in Utah?
Salt Lake City. Yeah, so if there's anybody in that area might want to get together too, whether in protest in Salt Lake City. The police are real nice.
Yeah. Just another reason why when you're, building the channel and putting it up in the beginning, it's just really important to put up a lot of original content. Even one video a day, it's going to take you a while to get your 4,000 watch hours. But if you're doing 2 or 3 short videos a day, more the better. More the better. Okay, let's see here. Haggis Basher, do you think they will try the temporary restraining order tactic again?
Oh, yeah. Nance Drew.
They've had limited success with it. If nothing, they're just using it as a distraction technique. They're just trying to make trouble for people in hopes that the trouble's too much for them to waste their time with. That is the hope. So if they can get the person to feel like, I don't have time for this, I have so much other stuff, then the person will leave. That's why they're doing it. They're not doing it because it's legitimate. They're doing it as an annoyance.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I read that as TR0. I was like, huh? TR0.
That's the part, what you just explained is why it bothers me so much when I hear people criticizing protesting channels that are making money. Scientology's goal is to make it so that it's not worth your time to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
People financially supporting channels helps counteract that effort by making it worth your time. Mm-hmm. So to criticize channels for being financially supportive for what they're doing, to me, is doing Scientology's job. You know who else wishes no one could make any money doing this? Scientology.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Exactly. And we've been groomed our entire lives to thinking that we're only worth $50 a week
Mhm.
if we work 100 hours a week. And so, that narrative, people saying that, you're just doing this for clicks or you're just doing that to make money, is just feeding into that shame and martyrdom that we grew up with.
that's
Good
right.
point.
Well, and that's the inaccuracies. They always like to pendulum swing and go, you're just doing it for clicks and the money. And you go,
Mhm.
no, we're doing it to be Scientology's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Making money sure helps.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes it Scientology's worst nightmare. Anyway,
Mhm.
Kay Taylor says lead and asbestos cause cancer and many other health issues. Might be another reason to explain cancer in Scientology. I think it is one of the reasons for cancer, such a high incidence of cancer in Scientology.
Because
Yeah.
normally for asbestos remediation, you bring in a company that's like coming in protective suits, and they have to like get this stuff out, clean the entire space, and then they're bagging it up as they go, and they never expose their person to it. And we were like, I remember these things, because they were little pieces, we would throw them everywhere at each other. Like, I remember Justin and Sterling, we would throw them at one another. And it was like, I probably have asbestos cuts on me because your brothers are mean. You know what I mean? So anyway, that's just what we were doing as kids. We're like busting it up. And there's Jenna over there, making smaller stuff, you and BJ just beating the crap out of things, making it like asbestos dust and rubbing it on yourself. Anyway, so.
All I can imagine while you are saying this is Zoolander having his gasoline fight with all of his friends. That's all I can think of.
It would pretty much be the same thing. I mean, it shows you the differences too. I grew up in Scientology, but we were throwing rocks at each other, maybe just being at least kids that way. You guys were having asbestos fights.
Well, that's because we were up at the end base. We had better stuff. Like we were up at a higher level. We didn't have to use rocks. We were able to use like manufactured.
Took it more seriously.
We did. And they flew really great. It was like, because, when you were a kid in the 80s, you're like, these are like throwing stars, like asbestos. You know what I mean? So
now y'all should be like part of a study or something to see and follow the health of these people who as children worked on this and did this.
Yeah, and spray glue too. I used an awful lot of spray glue when I was in the landlord office.
For
It's
what?
a miracle I'm still alive.
Oh, the mounting spray glue?
Yeah, for the design boards, like all day, every day.
Wow. And no mask, probably no ventilation.
No, I had like spray glue all over me, all over my shoes.
That said, like, what, Super 77 or whatever it is, or Super 80?
Exactly.
Like, you make it tacky and you stick it down, and then you're screwed if you want to get it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff. I'm familiar.
Yeah, that is
Justice Diana
serious. Like,
says-
you guys should like seriously make note. I mean, I know that you've shared it, made note about it, but if you have any health issues later, this is something you definitely, I think, need to join some kind of class action lawsuit. Or
We only realize now that we're this old. It's too late.
Well, this is the thing. So this is the thing on all of like the legal stuff is a factor. Like the biggest problem is Scientology has maneuvered themselves into weaponizing their religious status in order to protect themselves.
Yeah.
And then in any sort of lawyers that are, willing to take that on, it's all on a contingency basis, which means the law firms have to cover the costs in hopes that they can get some progress on it. So once there is a break in the dam and just a little leak and it starts to happen, it's going to snowball at some point, but it's just slow going until then. But there's more people coming out, more people complaining, more activism, more people speaking out and sharing your situation, sharing your experiences, and having a voice is contagious. I think it is. People are like, you know what? If Mike Brown can do this and he's not that smart, I know I could do this too. Then more people are going to want to do it. So
everything you just said is why I love doing these fun 4-person panel chats, because if I'm one of these people still in Scientology and I find one of these videos, I'm being like, these guys seem like they're having a lot of fun.
That's so true.
And Aaron's laughing at his own jokes harder than anyone else. And you know what? I want to join one of those chats so I can laugh at one of his jokes harder than he does.
Be one of the Beanie Boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Sarah Browett, a great bunch of 4. Appreciate you all. Thank you very much.
You.
Haggis Basher says, I just got my Raycon wireless earbuds thanks to your recommendation. Booyah, baby. See, it works. Buyraycon.com/SPTV for 15% off. They're already very, very low prices. I'm getting better at it. Okay. Gabrielle from Escaping the Cultiverse A says, do any of you know what your SP declare said? Mine said, I joined a sex cult.
Oh, there's a story there.
Well, did you?
Yeah, we got to hear this, Gabe. Well, I mean, what was it that they twisted into sex cult, or did they just completely make it up? And why? I have so many questions. Why would that be the best one for you? You know, they often will, the lies they tell are so outrageous. Half of them with my family, I was like, we gave you so many softballs that you just could have ran with, but instead you went with something nobody would believe.
Mm-hmm.
You think they
did anyone here see what was on Jenna? Did you ever see your SP declare?
Yeah, we talked about mine in a video. Yeah, it said that I was like mutinous and it had mayhem on there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And all sorts of crazy things. And they
were,
kind of
though.
give
It had-
themselves what?
You were mute.
Biting and headbutting.
Yeah, exactly. And that I told my spouse that I wanted to leave.
Oh,
I spoke to my spouse.
how dare
And
you.
it even said things like that she deserted her post, and like, you know, when we're supposed to be volunteers. So they just sort of give themselves away in so many ways in these issues, which I think is why they don't issue them anymore.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. There were too many, actually. I remember around 2015, 2016, even kind of hearing that there were too many. They could not keep putting them out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah. And it said I tried to call authorities. I tried to call the police.
Wow. No, I can't remember what mine said. I can't remember. I don't think I ever got a copy.
Oh.
But I'm sure it was something very unoriginal.
Oh, I got a copy. For sure. Oh, yeah.
So what was
All
your,
right.
what were you declared for?
Wait, you got a copy of yours, Mike?
Oh, yeah, I do. I was trying to, I don't have it queued up, but I have it basically. I got a copy of it actually sent to me. I'll have to do a whole video about it. I did it on some of my stuff that I had done with Christy and Miriam, where we had actually talked about it a little bit on there.
You
but
read the whole thing.
Yeah, read the whole thing. And so mine in here, I actually have it signed by Mike Ellis. It's funny that his signature changes depending on which piece of correspondence you get from him. So strange.
Was he the Continental Justice Chief?
Yeah.
International.
Yeah,
Justice.
he's
International.
basically for blowing, and it says, I am guilty of the following suppressive acts, violation or neglect of any of the 10 points of keeping Scientology working. You think failure to handle or disavow or disconnect from a person demonstrably guilty of suppressive acts. That would be my father. And secretly planning to leave and making private preparations to do so without informing the proper terminals in the organization, and blowing and not returning within a reasonable length of time.
So scandalous, Mike Brown. So scandalous.
So I left and was in connection with my family and wasn't a good Scientologist. Hence, I am an SP. But what's interesting is this is an interesting line. I just want to say it because for anyone that has an SP declare and they think that I can't sue Scientology because that I've signed paperwork, if you have a copy of your SP declare, they always put this. Any certificates or awards given to Mike are hereby canceled. Any trademark licenses or membership agreements he may have signed are also hereby canceled, and he may not use any of the Dianetics and Scientology trademarks in any manner whatsoever.
Well, there
Wow.
you go.
So
And that
membership agreements are like things that you would have signed while you're in there. So I think part of the reason they've stopped sending out these SP declares is because it basically says that all agreements with Scientology are null and void. So if I want to sue Scientology and a lawyer could actually, represent me on something that's within the statute of limitations, and they say, well, he signed this paperwork. Well, I have something from Mike Ellis here that says that all of my membership agreements are null and void because I'm no longer a Scientologist. I've been excommunicated.
Can you read that part for me one more time about the membership agreements?
Any certificates or awards given to Mike are hereby canceled. Any trademark licenses or membership agreements he may have signed are also hereby canceled, and he may not use any of the Dianetics and Scientology trademarks in any manner whatsoever.
Wow.
It says very clearly, or let's say any trademark licenses or membership agreements he may have signed are also hereby canceled.
Would that help
So that would-
Valerie Haney?
She doesn't have a piece of paper declaring her suppressive person because they stopped issuing these for that reason.
But that is standard issue boilerplate language on an SP declare.
Right.
But
So if you think about it, but this is the thing, if you don't have a copy of an SP declare, like I am, like my flag order 12595 on 8 April 2004, and then attached to it is the actual thing from Senior HCO International signed by Mike Ellis. Dear Mike, I am enclosing a copy of your SP declare recently issued on you. I would like to assist you in getting through your A to E steps as soon as possible. If you're interested in handling your status, please let me know if you have any questions. Love, Mike Ellis, International Justice Chief.
See, if you're an SP, you only get love, not much
love. That's true. It's less love. And then even on the bottom, they even barcoded these things. Like there's a barcode down here with D014330FLO, Scientology International, and it's like very official on their letterhead, with a copy of the SP declare and all of the shenanigans with it. And this was what they used to send out. But this actually invalidates any agreements you would have signed, because they basically say that these are canceled. It doesn't specify which ones. It says all. Any.
That's amazing.
That's right.
Like these are big ass words. Like that little 3-letter word is very, very important. So the fact that Valerie Haney or some of these people that are obviously huge, huge SPs don't have these things is because Scientology realizes they are violating their policy of declaring people and issuing it so that there's always a back door, and they can, you're supposed to have a back door open. You're supposed to declare them so that they can then get fixed and come back in. They're not doing that because it opens them up to legal liability. So they're violating their own policies by putting on this entire charade that they're doing. So yes, I have a copy of my SP declare, and this is why they're not doing it anymore.
Wow.
And I think in addition to that last crime that you read about blowing, that's blatant human trafficking, saying that you can't leave without permission, or saying
Secretly
things like
planning to leave and making preparations to do so without informing the proper terminals in the organization, and blowing and not returning within a reasonable length of time.
Yeah,
that is a suppressive act.
Yeah, that shows that you're not free to leave at any time you want to. And same, when they include things like you called authorities, like you should be able, that's like a right you have.
Right.
And, if they're putting in there that you can't do that. So I think that's another reason. A lot of their crimes and high crimes are like blatant civil rights violations and human trafficking.
So when the courts are too chicken shit to say, you know what, we need to look into your doctrine and what this means, this is what they're failing to do, because the human trafficking regulations and the control that exists in that ethics book, the Scientology ethics and justice books and all their policies and stuff, that is the evidence of their, like, what they actually believe and what people can be excommunicated for and what they're holding over their heads. So if they don't evaluate that, like, take it seriously, people. This is what we were indoctrinated with as children. So when we find ourselves in this situation, we don't know what to do with it at first until we like enter the world and kind of sort ourselves out. And you look back at this and you're like, this is nuts.
It's interesting that, yes, these are the rules that they expect you to apply while also calling you a volunteer.
Yes. A volunteer who has to attend 3 roll calls a day at least.
Just to make
Right. And
sure
they
you
would
haven't escaped.
volunteer to be able to not have to pay you and all that.
Yeah.
So they want to have their cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
Very true.
Not
Anyway.
anymore.
I've always wondered what the problem was with wanting to have the cake and eat it. What is the point of having the cake if you're not going to eat it? I've never understood this saying, but I do know what it means.
I feel like wasted cake is a big problem. I wouldn't want to see it happen.
Yeah. If people are just throwing cake away, I'm going to have issue with that.
Yeah, like it's a bad thing to have your cake and eat it too. When you think about it, isn't that ideal? Isn't it what we all want? To have what
I'm
we
not
want,
one to throw away
enjoy
cake.
it in multiple
Do I
ways.
look like I'm missing out on cake?
Yeah. Sea Org members look forward to that cake. They don't want to have it and not eat it. I mean,
Yeah.
Unless you're on rice and
all
beans.
right. Unstoppable SP says, Guys, I have a question. What type of help is provided to an ex-Sea Org member? I need support, please. Well, Unstoppable SP, please send an email with all your information, either to contact at the SPTVfoundation.org or fill out the form that is on the website. Either one is fine, because there's not one pat answer to this question. The help provided is totally dependent on the situation and the person and the need, and there's no simple answer. But definitely send us the information, and we'll get back to you for sure. Does it matter to you? Not for me. Says, thanks for keeping the fire alight. Love all 4 of you. Sorry I missed you here in Los Angeles again. Maybe next time. Keep up the fight. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Angelina says, I think discovering the illegal tunnel under Fountain is a big win for Occupy Blue. No tunnel's been discovered. There's no tunnel that we know of for sure. But if there is, the authorities would definitely want to. What's that?
Should I pull it up again?
What, the tunnel?
Yeah. I know exactly where it is. It goes right between, I can even tell you which stairwells they connect on AOLA.
Oh, they don't mean the tunnel. They don't mean the tunnel under LRH Way. They're talking about the tunnel that may or may not be being built under
the parking structure. They're doing it like Shawshank, one little scoop at a time.
Yes. Let's see. What does this say? Mama D63, Scientology attorney, really brought up income from Ian Media. Oh, social. Okay. Scientology attorney brought up income from social media to streets in court. Talk with Dodge. Mama, you okay over there? I actually meant to do an update with Dodge today, but we didn't get to it. We'll do it tomorrow. Prince Muskie says, you got to do as best as you can. Is that as best as you can? As you can. What is happening?
Is that a play on asbestos?
Do as best as you can.
You need to do as best as you can.
You got to say it with a little bit of
I think that was right.
Yeah, pretty clever.
Casey Cat says there are law firms that deal only in asbestos cases because there's so much money in it. Billions have been set aside.
Dang, Mike, you and me.
Go get on that. Go get that.
Let's get with Laura and we'll go out to Saboba and like dig up some samples and say, this is the stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now everybody needs to watch that location because, right now, Osa's all like, oh, dig up the rest.
Well, no, they gave it back to the Saboba Indians. The reservation there owns that property again. They got rid of it.
Yeah, but they're probably pretty friendly with them.
Wait, back it up. Scientology gave land back to Native Americans after Scientology buried asbestos in the land.
Well, it's different than smallpox blankets, but it's similar.
But seriously, that's what happened?
Ultimately, there's a lot of years in between there, but I would, the property is a weird mix now of, they use it almost like a retreat. Like there's sometimes these like Girl Scout retreats or religious retreats. You can take an area and there's ball fields and stuff. A lot of it is the work. Laura did a video where she went and toured through this whole place. And most of it is the improvements, like the rock walls, the painting, like all of this that we did as kids. And all the trees are bigger now. And it's really kind of creepy to look at. But the tribe there owns the property again, as well as the other property kind of connected to it. There's one that was called the Campbell House that is across there. It used to be owned by the Campbell Soup Company, but they now have all of that property back. So when we were there as kids, that was actually a hot topic, and there was a lot of animosity from the tribe, and they call themselves the Saboba Indians. So there were, so I'm not racially inappropriate. Like their sign says Saboba Indian Reservation outside, so they're okay on being called Indians, just so we're clear on this. But they sometimes would shoot at our vehicles. There were a lot of them were very friendly, and then there were a lot of them, but you had to travel through the reservation to get to the kids' school.
But did they know about the asbestos?
No, probably not. Yeah,
they know.
I guess we'll have to do something after this. We'll get Laura on it.
She's in my mind. I mean, I've heard
she
about
probably
the
has the
asbestos.
connections anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard
Like,
about the
this-
asbestos. I've heard about the land being returned. I did not ever put those two things together that
Mhm.
was the same land.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
mean,
Is anybody else freaked
you-
out by this?
If
I
you
mean-
guys ever come down with mesothelioma, you guys are really going to cash in.
Right before we die.
God,
Yeah.
that was a funny joke, you guys. Okay, Izzy B.
The only one laughing is Natalie, and we're like, I'm not gonna laugh right now because Natalie's having to go through a bunch of shit right now.
Well, it continues to laugh.
You gotta laugh. Yeah.
All right. Izzy says, thank you all for your time and dedication to exposing the human rights violations, abuse of the children and the elderly. Note, the elderly gentleman seeking a protection order struts steadily with a cup of coffee in his hand. Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait for the hearing to see these guys just get blown out of the water. North Texas Angel says, I'm at the Dallas org right now.
Ooh.
They have a playground and a 70-ish old elder mowing a huge lot. To be Dallas, there's 10 cars. Wow.
Oh, there's only 10 cars there. Wow.
Good job for documenting all that. Amy Edge says, I think all of y'all are great. Keep up the fight. Thank you so much. And Lathanda Grauklinger, Jenna, I listened to your book last month and it's so good. To me, it's the best of the Scientology life story books. I hope everybody reads it and learns.
I need to read it again. It's been so long. I just retained almost nothing.
Yeah.
Do we want to see
really
if the
is.
voice is the same? Is that something we want to check right now?
Oh, the voice in the book? Oh, yeah. Pull it
Yeah.
up. Pull it up.
Okay. Yeah, let me pull it up.
On the Audible?
And
Yeah.
wait, what's happening here?
Did you get to choose at all, Jenna? Were you consulted on the voice for the Audible, or they just
Everywhere I
did it?
looked was lush and green. At one point, we crossed a bridge that spanned a very large running creek and came to an oasis of tall oak trees. Each turn in the road
pretty
seemed to
close.
present a new vista.
It
Now
sounds
you
like
say that.
like a younger.
Say that each turn in the road seemed to present a new vista. Say that.
Each turn in the road. I already forget. But that's funny because that's the part of the book when I was going to the ranch with Rosemary.
That's right. You and BJ. I just
Yeah.
had that queued up for some reason. Anyway.
Mike, can you undo your screen share? For some reason, it's not recognizing my screen share.
Oh, let me get rid of it. Sorry.
Mike took over.
Oh, I mean, unless it
Yeah, I
just had
got
to
rid of
click the
mine.
button, maybe.
Yeah, it was a different one. But I probably
WTF OMG right now. All right, I guess I'll redo it.
got it. Can't
all
have
right.
too many cooks.
Jenna's book is Beyond Belief, My Secret Life Inside Scientology and My Harrowing Escape. It really is an incredible story.
Mm-hmm.
Only you
Julie
read the
A
whole
says,
thing.
yeah, I'm almost done with it.
I had to say that. I'm sorry.
He's working
getting
through
there.
the stuff with your ex right now.
Don't be
It's
sorry.
taking him a
He
while.
has had time. And he read the
I'm
book.
getting there.
Don't let him off the hook.
All right. Julie says, isn't that another way to bring Scientology down? Asbestos on native land? That is all kinds of illegal.
Yeah, I just feel like we need to be talking about that one more. For sure. We will put a pin in it for now. But
All right,
if
let's
anybody
do-
knows anything
do
else
a-
about that, yeah.
Maybe we can do a separate live about it, Natalie.
You absolutely.
Oh, what about me? I was there.
Yeah.
Well, both of us. That's what I said. We.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe
no,
we can even get Laura there, and we'll all have
Yeah,
talking
and
over each
Sterling.
other. It'll be great. Yeah,
no, you guys
and
definitely
Sterling.
need to do
we
that.
were all there for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I mean, right there, that's like 4 people. And there were other ones. That's just insane.
Well, there were 80 kids, and we were all digging it up by hand. So
Oh my God.
There was 80 kids there?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Susie
Sears
Q says,
members.
OMG, it totally sounds like her.
Mhm.
it does.
Like a younger Jenna.
Allison says, she does sound a little like Jenna.
Mhm.
Kiwi says, close, but still.
Yeah.
And Gabrielle says, oh, yeah, that sounds like Jenna. Just imagine all the auditions that they had to do to find someone. I wonder how they do that. Yeah, they would have had to record your voice because you weren't involved in selecting the voice, right?
No, but it's because they had to get the book out really fast because they were worried about Scientology finding out about it. So it's this thing called like an embargo where like nobody's supposed to know about it and they do it really fast. So they didn't even have time for me to record it or even ask about it because it's just so quick.
I mean, the voice talent, she's excellent, and she sounds like you. Like it couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
I've listened to other books that she's read, and she's very good. So I just think that she's like, one of the people that Audible uses a lot because she's so awesome.
Definitely a go.
Cricket Cinema. Is SPTV the largest federation of channels on YouTube? Are there others like it?
It's a good question.
Federation.
I like that. Federation of
It's
channels.
funny.
Galactic Confederation of Channels.
Yeah, we went from one federation to another federation. Galactic Federation.
I know this is a bit of a throwback comment, but I have a question about this as well. Aren't these big giant cement planters that Scientology put out on the sidewalks of L. Ron Hubbard Way on public property? And the answer to me seems to be yes. I do not know why they're allowed to put them there.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's considered like beautifying or something, so it's okay.
Yeah.
It's blocking like half of the public thoroughfare on those sidewalks. It's
That's
crazy.
true.
Right.
There's probably rules about how much space you have to have between each one. But then again, Scientology gets away with a lot that makes no sense.
But that's probably something to look into and start lodging complaints about, because like sidewalks have to be a certain size and a certain, like that is public property. That is not owned by Scientology.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. They should even say we tried to do a barbecue out front there on the public property and this giant tree was in the way.
Scientology hates barbecues.
Eat More Pizza Now. Thank you so much for gifting a channel membership. Liz Ferris has gifted 5 channel memberships. Thank you so much. And maybe we end on this one. I mean this with complete sincerity. Do you think Shelly Miscavige knows how many people care about her and have been looking for her? What are some thoughts on this?
No,
I have.
don't think so.
I do not think she has any connection to external media. I know the way we were controlled at INT, and I was never at CST, so Blow Drill, Dylan could probably speak to this, but I know that the only external media we were allowed to see is if they put the news on, and it was tightly controlled. And we didn't have social media. You didn't have external internet. You weren't allowed to read the paper. How we were supposed to vote was given to us and told to us, and we did not have the ability to research pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
Except for just music. Like you could get music CDs, but we didn't have connection to the normal stuff. What do you think, Jenna?
I think that because she had to be contacted because of the missing persons, I think maybe on some level she knows something that was going on.
Probably gave her some short story about it, like that maybe somebody was making it up and, they had to do it.
Or that Leah's an SP, so she's trying to make problems, so she's doing this. You need a hand, like, you know what I mean? Like that would be a very typical way to handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. And everything that you said, Mike, is really true about how isolated we were. But I mean, Shelly was in as COB's assistant, Dave's assistant, she was more exposed to the real world and able to watch news and things like that as part of her job. So I agree that she no longer is. But I think that she would have more of a general understanding of what would be happening in the outside world if she was being asked those questions. But I mean, maybe that wasn't it. Like she doesn't know exactly what it is, and it wouldn't have been confirmed for her that that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a blast, you guys.
For sure.
Let me show you guys' channel for anyone more recently joining us. You can find Jenna's channel at Jenna Miscavige. You can find Natalie's channel at Scientology Life After a Cult, and also I'll put links to the channels in the comments section too. And you can find Mike Brown's channel at Mike Brown 101. And if you're watching anywhere else other than my channel, you can also find my channel at Growing Up in Scientology. This has been a blast, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me and doing this, and let's do it again soon.
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this evening. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.